What happens when a group of paranormal investigators start a conversation? You get Ghost of the Coast Paranormal, the podcast. Tales of the dead, the bizarre, and all things supernatural. Join us now as we discuss haunted houses. Hi, and welcome back to Ghost of the Coast Paranormal, the podcast. I'm Erin,
I'm Linnea.
I'm Deborah.
and today we are talking all about haunted houses. Now, you guys might notice watching the video, but those of you listening will notice in a second. But we are joined by a guest. We are joined by Craig.
Hello.
Both have experiences living in haunted houses. They're going to tell their tales to us in a little bit. But how's everybody doing today?
Hanging in there. It's a little cold, a little frosty here.
Yeah, a little
A
bit,
little
little
chilly.
bit.
Yeah, little, little
Actually,
chilly.
while we were talking, I got an alert saying something about snow, which I don't like.
Really?
First
What?
alert,
Man,
snow in Myrtle Beach, question mark, exclamation point. You better put them hands down, Deborah.
No, no, no,
see, Craig,
Craig
I
brought the
told you
snow
he
with
had
him.
no. I
Craig!
can't get away from it. I blame my
So,
parents.
so I'm ready to go on some investigations. By the way, we've got
Yeah.
a couple possibly really good ones coming up. So I'm excited about those.
me
But let's get into the matter at hand.
at hand.
At hand,
Mm,
would you, Deborah or Linnea, ever live in a haunted house?
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah. I don't mean like a fun haunted house, like with clowns that jump out.
No.
I mean, I don't
yeah.
want to live somewhere where, the last residents getting scratch marks in their sleep. But if you
Oh
just
no.
say house has spirits, I'm kind of
Yeah.
envisioning like Ghost, the television
Yeah.
show. That would be awesome.
Oh, that would be
Yeah,
great.
that'd be fun.
Awesome show. So, have you guys ever lived in a haunted house?
I have not, but my cousins have.
According to my mama, yes. When I was little.
Yeah. I lived in a haunted house as well. So we'll just get into 5 signs that your house might be haunted. And y'all feel free to interject anytime. But so the first one, and if y'all can attest to it, let me know. First one, and these come from housebeautiful.com. Um, there is a distinct smell and you cannot find the source. Um, and this says, quote, it's a very specific scent that you wouldn't otherwise find in your home. If you smell perfume, which isn't anything you own, or smell of cigar smoke, stuff like that. So that's the first one, phantom odors, which at a few locations, well, my parents' old house, I had phantom odors, not me personally, but I smelled I smelled phantom odors. Um, my great grandfather, I think I talked about this on an earlier episode. My great grandfather had a very distinct smell, and it was like a smell of uh, like oil and grease because he liked to go outside and tinker around his shop, and a very specific smell of like pomade
Hmm.
combined together. And you can't like replicate that smell no matter what you do. And I would smell it every so often at my parents' old house, and it stopped right after my great grandmother passed away. Like I haven't smelled it since.
Interesting.
Yeah. So,
He
have
moved
y'all ever
on.
had any experiences? Yeah, like they were together at that point. I was convinced. Have y'all ever had any phantom smells?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
I have in my house, but most of the smells that we've experienced have been at the Bundy. There's
Yeah.
major cigar smell there.
Hmm.
I
So on
think the
that note,
cool.
Erin, we
Yeah.
should explain, since they're talking about the Bundy house, that they are also paranormal investigators. Not,
Yes,
Mm.
not
and
just
we've
some
had.
random guests with haunted houses.
Yes, they're random people off the street that we found and said, "Come be on our podcast." Yeah, and we've had Craig on before. Previous episode, maybe episode
One of the earlier
14.
I was going to
ones,
say
yeah.
Some,
around like
yeah,
15 or something.
one of the earlier ones. We had Craig on talking about the Bundy house and the Hinsdale house.
Hmm.
Um, so one of the coolest things that I think I've experienced was at our undisclosed location, and we had
Perfume.
like that perfume smell.
Yeah, but we
That
also
and
had the cat urine at Tobacco Museum.
oh
That one was
yeah,
the one that freaked me out the
Oh
most
yeah, that
because
was.
that was weird.
that was
That was weird.
crazy.
And so this building, the Tobacco Museum, it's an old train depot, and basically in the back room, we had all this was our first time going. We had all been affected one way or another throughout this night. I had my emotions messed with. We all got Christy got ill. Um we had all been touched, and
We
it
were
was
all
just
having
a
back pain to where we actually
yeah,
all had to bend over, and that was right
yeah,
around the same time the smell came.
yeah. This smell of cat pee came about so quickly. And even if a cat had literally crawled under this building and peed,
It wouldn't have
uh,
been that strong that fast, and it
it
never would have gone
wouldn't
away.
have been that strong.
That
And
it would
it
have had to soak in something.
yeah, and
And
it
everybody smelt
literally
it.
we all smelled it, and it followed us out of that room, followed us to the other end of the building, and then disappeared. As quickly as it came and as quick as it followed us, it disappeared.
And the back pain was gone when that was all gone too, so it was, like,
Yeah,
really weird.
it was the weirdest thing. Um,
Yeah,
but
I mean,
then
it was next to the railroad tracks too, so it could have been some like homeless guy,
Not that
homeless
smell.
spirit.
No,
it,
you
No,
the way it
I don't mean like an actual homeless guy. I meant like the spirit of one, and it was the
oh yeah,
residual of him
no,
passing
you
back and
can't
forth.
mistake cat pee. That was straight up cat
yeah.
urine, and I think we looked it up at the time to see if, like, it had any kind of, like, meaning, if you look up certain smells, and it
Oh,
did.
yes. Yeah. It was weird the way it as quick as it came on, it literally smelled like a litter box. Um, so the next one, which we as paranormal investigators experience a lot, is sudden changes in temperature.
Mhm.
Where there and that's when we get a change in temperature in an investigation, we typically will look out for vents and any windows that could be drafty just to kind of debunk everything. And it's the craziest thing, and it's the craziest thing to feel just a sudden hot or cold spot. But the funniest thing to me is when Craig hits a cold spot, he's like, "Guys, I am freezing right now." Um, so that is fairly common, but have y'all experienced those in your home?
Oh yeah,
Not in my
Yeah.
home.
Yeah.
I sent you guys that EVP too that I captured a couple nights before that of me and another member of my team sitting there, and before we knew what we captured on the recorder, after what came through, you could hear me say, what Aaron just said. Oh man, I'm so freezing.
I'm freezing right now.
But and then when we went back and listened to the recording and everything, you could hear what thought. A couple other people heard other things, but I thought I heard I'm not touching him, or I'm not touching there, and then another voice saying touching there.
Oh yeah, that was a crazy. I remember that EVP.
Yeah.
This next one, I don't know if I believe it because I've never had an issue with it. I have on investigations, but again, I'm in the house that I lived in. I never had any issues with it. But your phone is always on the verge of dying.
Mine's always dying anyway.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, that can be too many different factors.
yeah, and I've noticed on investigations, like my phone battery will last me all day. But I've noticed that on investigations, when things start getting really crazy, my phone will drain like
Hmm.
crazy. And
Yeah, the
it's
super fast.
yeah, and
Yeah, phones are the easiest, I think, for them to drain.
oh yeah. Um Number 4, there are mysterious noises.
So
Oh
that's
God,
actually been
Jason
happening to
and
me a
Roy.
lot lately.
That's been happening to you at your house?
Yeah.
Oh lord.
Wow.
So,
Something happened today when I was in a Zoom. It literally felt like somebody threw something on my desk or knocked something over and nothing moved. Like it
mm.
was really weird.
Hmm.
So to touch on that for a second, obviously Deborah and Linnea know about it, but last week's podcast episode, we had the weirdest thing happen. Like, my current house is not haunted, because we're the only owners of this house. Like, we
That
built
doesn't
this
mean
house.
anything.
It does to me. It does to
You
me.
know it's the land, Aaron. You know it's the land.
Well, they can't come inside my house, and I've set those boundaries.
At the back door.
Yeah, nope. um,
Knocking on your floor.
yeah. Thank goodness my floor is concrete. But we had the weirdest thing happen last week. Like, we've never had any issues with recording before. Um, since we started, we were using another platform, and we never had any issues with it. Well, last week it was technically it was Deborah's week, and she had an awesome topic. It was an awesome like it was a great episode, and all was going well. We got through the whole recording, but 23 minutes into the recording, Deborah and I both heard a female voice. And we both looked up expecting Linnea to say something. Like it because it almost sounded like it was her. And it said, "Well," and we both looked up. It was the weirdest thing. Linnea didn't say anything
Or hear anything.
or hear anything. And so we go back. So at the end of that episode, we had gotten through the whole episode. It was an awesome episode. All I go to edit it. I go uh to listen for that voice first of all, and I scrolled through to the 23-minute mark, and where that voice should be, like when it's dead air but something comes through, there's a little crack and a pop.
Mhm.
Where that voice was, all that was there was a crack and a pop. So the voice was not captured, but a spacing was there where there should have been a voice. And then I go to edit it, download it so that I can edit it. All of Deborah's stuff is like fast forwarded, and everything that she was talking about the topic, and I don't want to say it because I don't want to mess this episode up,
And because
but
we're still going to
everything,
re-record it because it was a great episode.
yeah, everything that she was saying about this particular topic, about this person, was like chopped up and cut out. So it was the weirdest thing. So we had to record a stream of consciousness episode because spirit did not like being talked about. And um so yeah, it was the weirdest, just the weirdest thing. And but yeah,
I
we
guess
definitely got to record.
when she died,
Do what?
she's still meaning death.
Yeah, she's like, I will not have you talk about me. But I actually looked it up later, and it turns out like when people go into the house and
Mhm.
tease and play around and kind of talk shit about her, she runs them out of the house.
Well, maybe
Hmm.
we need to
So
hold that until we go to that house.
maybe. Um, but yeah, that was the weirdest thing. But number 5, you regularly feel a weird sensation on the back of your neck.
Yeah.
Just the hair standing up.
I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. I don't necessarily I don't feel chills on the back of my neck. I get it with my whole body. But I know Christy actually, she does feel it because she'll scrunch up and go, I got the
mhm.
chills. But
I usually
those
feel like on my back or our legs.
yeah,
I think
yeah. What about y'all?
they're missing one that's really kind of, I think, common, like maybe even
Which
more like seeing flashes and stuff, seeing stuff at the
Yeah,
corner of your eyes, like that I
yeah,
have
right?
all the
shadows,
time. Like
shadows. Yeah,
I always swear there's people walking around.
yeah. I
Right?
constantly see shadows in my house here.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
surprised that's not on there.
Yeah. It does say, however, the good news is orbs aren't necessarily signs your home is haunted.
And more often than not, they're probably dust.
Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. So so
Bugs.
those are the 5 signs that your house could possibly be haunted. Um so let's get into it. So Craig, tell us about your haunted house. And
Well,
is this the first haunted house that you've lived in?
no,
Okay.
no. This is second, eh, maybe even more. I don't know. The second one that I know for sure. But I gotta go. I gotta start with a different story because this house is almost, in my eyes, the reason I'm in the paranormal today. And
This
this is a story I've been waiting to tell you guys forever. Christy already knows it. Um, so I moved back from South Carolina originally in 2016, and I was staying with my parents for a few months looking for a house. And I looked at, oh god, at least a dozen of them, and couldn't find one that I actually liked at all. I was scrolling through the internet one day, just looking at a bunch of them, and I came across this house. Instantly, before even looking at it, before anything, I back in my mind, I knew that I'm closing on this house. Ironically, well, no, not really ironically, but the realtor I was working with, within the hour, sent me an email to the a link to the same house. So I was like, oh, I mean, this is destiny. So I went and looked at it, loved it, put in an offer, closed on it in August of 2016. And that's when I moved in. Well, I closed on it earlier than that, but I moved in August 2016. So I'm sitting in the living room that fall, and I hear bang, 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 one right after another. I'm like, what the? And I go down in the basement, and all three of my golf bags that I had set up in different corners of the basement were all on the ground, pointing to the middle of the basement. And I set them all up, and I like hit them, moved them, nothing. Well, during that time, I actually joined a paranormal team. I was on Empirical Paranormal at the time, and I invited them out. They came to my house um, several times. I was telling them the same story. They were in the basement with me, and the director at the time, Deborah, she goes, "I don't know about the golf clubs, but that baseball bat." Never even turned and looked at it. She goes, "That baseball bat has tons of energy in it." A few seconds later, that bat falls over. In the 7 years I've lived in that house, that bat has been in that exact location. That's the only time it's ever fallen over. So fast forward, do another investigation. It's myself and now my assistant director, Sam, and another member of Empirical, Dom. And we're up in my attic. This is where it gets a little creepy. We found a wedding album up there. So we're going through it, and it's clearly really, really, really old. Black and white. I mean, you could tell by the clothes they were wearing that it was sometime between 60s and 70s. So we found that the company, I think, went out of business in the early 70s. So we knew it had to have been at least before that. Ironically, too, I was getting Bed Bath and Beyond coupons in the mail at the time with the name Sandra Kilpatrick on it. And that was one of the names on the side of the wedding album was Ralph and Sandy. So I thought that was a little weird. So I did a little research. The research I found, I was told Sandra had passed away. We just recently found out that Sandra is still alive, but her second husband has passed away. So I left it kind of at that. I still actually have the album to this day because I
Oh,
can't
wow.
get hold of anyone. But we did a couple members came on my team. They did a little research on this wedding album for me, trying to find the next of kin. Well, come to find out, Sandra remarried. Ralph, her original husband that's in the wedding album, is living in Norwich, New York, I believe. But that marriage did not last long. Everyone that I gave that wedding album to that's a sensitive felt a loveless marriage. There was no connection in there. We did find out that the marriage was, they did divorce fairly early into their relationship.
Oh, wow.
Um, but she remarried to James Kilpatrick. James Kilpatrick passed away. Can't remember when he passed away. Um, but this is where it gets creepy. His next of kin are located here in Myrtle Beach
Oh, wow.
and spread out through South Carolina. And Sandra now lives in Columbia.
Huh.
So I do believe to this day that I was drawn back because I love the paranormal. When I worked for Dick's Sporting Goods down here, I always joked and said that I would quit the golf industry today and leave for to do the paranormal. So when the opportunity arose, I took it, and that would have never happened if I never got that house and everything. Now, we just also recently found out too that the previous owner, Paul Cardone, was very, very active in the Enjoy Golf Course right down the street from me, which is the golf course that holds the senior PGA Tour tournament, Dick's Sporting Goods Open. Now, I worked for Dick's for 8, 9 years and was very active with them. Um, Golf is my passion, number one passion and career and everything, and that was his first love as well. So the fact that he passed away in that house, being so loved golf so much and everything, and then the relationship to South Carolina that it has. I believe the energy from that house somehow got me to buy it. And there's just too many connections with each other, and all the experiences we've had in there, leaning towards golf, my dog, which I got down in Myrtle Beach and everything, um, just makes me believe that I'm in the paranormal today because of buying that house, and that house drawing
Right.
me back to it.
Isn't that crazy how that works out?
It really is.
Yeah.
So you said that was the first, right?
What's that?
That was your first house?
No,
The
second.
second,
I had a house down here. I lived over in Prestwick off of 544.
and that one was haunted as well?
Not that I know of,
Oh, okay.
but I
Sorry,
really
I
didn't.
may have misunderstood what you said. I thought you said you had.
Oh, no, no. I did live in the house I grew up in, where I had my first ever experience. That was haunted.
Oh, okay.
But
Um,
we've had the biggest experience I've had in that house was a one of those large Yankee candles. Um, it was I'll never forget it. It was the night of the blue moon on Halloween a few years ago, and I watched that. I All I did was I picked up my recorder with three fingers and moved it to another part of the room and stood back in front of the bed, and I watched that candle with an arc to it launch about 10 to 15 feet.
Them things cost too much to be flying.
good God Almighty, that is facts right there.
They have, I have, what was the record? 138 hours straight of no sleep. I
In
was
your
sleeping in the house up there,
okay, so it was causing insomnia.
big time. I cannot
Um,
sleep. I've owned that house since 2016, and I have slept in the bedroom a total of probably no more than 20 times.
oh wow,
It can't. There's something in that corner of the bedroom that just you can feel it. I mean, I can't see stuff or feel things like you guys can. So if I'm feeling something in that room and it's bothering me like that, I can't even imagine how you guys would react to it.
right. So, and that is your current house in New York, correct?
Yes. Yep.
Wow. Yeah, yeah, that would be weird.
Haven't I heard something about the
You
attic at
can.
your house?
What's that?
Haven't I heard something about the attic at your house?
That's where we found the wedding album,
All right. So what else is going on up there?
and we actually just uh, when I was back up there, we had an investigation. Chris was there for this one. We found a wedding dress as well.
It in your attic
Yep.
from the unhappy marriage.
Hmm.
Oh, that's
And I've
weird.
sent emails to these people all over, several people, calling them and everything, trying to get rid of this thing, and no one will return my calls. And I just don't want to throw it away.
Right.
You can get very good money for that, and then you can buy more paranormal equipment.
I
But
think Deborah
yeah,
just
it's
dipped out. Is Deborah still here?
we. I can
Well,
also hear my cat walking down the hallway. I had to put my cat down of 20 years a few back in 2019, and I can hear her at different hours of the night thumping down the hallway. And
really?
yeah,
That's crazy. I think that would probably be the weirdest for me. That would probably be the weirdest thing is to hear like,
it's emotional. I can tell you that.
yeah. Um, yeah, that's so obviously the hauntings are still going on today in your
Oh yeah.
house.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Big time. No, Christmas. Christmas Eve, and I had three witnesses to this. Two of them that aren't really big into the paranormal. Um, I had a full jar of spaghetti sauce just sitting on my counter, flat, nothing on it, nothing underneath it, and we were just standing there talking. It was my Christmas party. We were just standing there talking and everything, and we just hear smack. And we look over, and the spaghetti sauce is now flat on the
Oh hell.
countertop.
So is that a common occurrence in your house that things will be moved
Yeah.
and things will be out of place?
Yep.
Um,
I've had my glasses taken before, spent 30, 40 minutes looking for them, and I've said, all right, I'm going to go take a shower. When I get out, I want my glasses right here on this coffee table. And at three different occasions, I've come out and they were right there.
huh.
I did have an attachment that I either got down here at Boone Plantation or at a cemetery back home. I can't we nobody can tell yet. Um, but it's I've had a friend of mine that's a Wiccan somehow attach it to the house, so it doesn't follow me when I come down here. I can sleep like a baby down here versus up in New York where I only get like two, maybe three. Knock
Whoop
on
whoop.
wood.
Whoop whoop. Ah,
Unless I forget to cleanse myself in an investigation down here.
God, don't do that. When we close well, before we go into an investigation, Lydia will do Reiki on us. Um, and on the property too, with the sound bowl and all that, right?
Mhm.
And then when we leave, we'll do Reiki, and Christine, she
We met
will
Christine.
um
Sage
she'll
the hell
do
out of us on her stuff.
yeah, all of that.
And we learned to actually do our equipment. We didn't do our equipment, remember, at the cemetery. And then after that, something happened. And then we were like, now we do all of our bags and stuff too.
Yeah. So, um yeah, so it's always good to have those rituals. And I think I couldn't imagine, and I know that there's some paranormal teams out there that literally just walk in and then they go home that night without doing anything. And I couldn't
Well,
imagine doing that.
there's been times we've forgot, like
Yeah.
in scale.
Yeah, it's just I couldn't imagine not having an opening and a closing ritual. I mean, and that's really what it is. It is a ritual, but
Yeah.
and rituals sound negative, sound evil, but it's all about intention, and we go into places in light and love and positivity and nothing but respect for spirit. And so I think that's been has been part of our saving grace for not bringing anything home. But we also don't go into places that have no negative attachments. We
Yeah, but think of how
you know
many issues I had from the cemetery.
yeah,
So I
exactly.
remember why we started doing our bags because after we did the cemetery, my phone stopped working that night, and I had to go buy a new cell phone the next day. And
And
then
then
the
you had
second
something with
time
your
we did the
car.
cemetery, I got in my car, and the whole center console wouldn't work. And then I ended up needing a new car battery.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah, so thank God we now know what to do, and we've been pretty good. We've been pretty fortunate. Um but and like I've always said, I'm not a demonologist. I don't want to be, so I'm not going to put myself in that situation where I'm like searching it out. And also my team's safety is my number one concern at all times. Is I'm not going to knowingly send us into something that has that negative energy. Now, it is understood that, like the tobacco museum, we will come across it. But I don't think the tobacco museum we've discussed it, that it was negative from the get-go. It was more we had some negative people with us.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
And it was a
I mean,
different experience
negativity
after.
is going to come through every now and then on an investigation. It's just don't egg it on,
exactly.
ignore it.
Well,
Yeah. And
not
Don't try to fight it, Erin.
not every investigation is going to be negative. Not everything that comes through in an investigation is going to be negative. I mean, it doesn't work that way.
No, I
preach it, girl.
it's mostly confused spirits.
You know
Preach it.
that is more than that's not paranormal. That's
Right.
yeah, that's a lot deeper than yeah.
Exactly. And and we yeah, it is. And then the following time we went back to the tobacco museum, things were much lighter.
They were
I still
lighter.
don't
That's still one of those locations I don't like to walk around alone.
I don't like to walk around alone because you feel like there's all kinds of eyes and shit on you, but I don't like to go in the back room. But it the energy level was totally different.
The back
But
room doesn't bother. I don't remember his name, but the mule
uh-huh. Roscoe?
that was it Roscoe? That
Oh,
area right there where
yeah.
he was, not inside the
Mhm.
barn, but the area right there where he was at was just
Yeah. So have you had any experiences at your house now in South Carolina?
No, none,
Oh
never,
wow. That's cool.
not one.
That's why you can sleep so well.
Yep.
Okay, but let's take this a little further then. So when we did the informal investigation at Christy's family's house, and Chris said, "I think somebody followed you here," and he heard a name that he wanted you to listen to. And Christy said she heard it as well. Explain that.
What name? Oh, Emma. That name.
Yeah, Chris had heard it
So,
on the.
so we gave her that name because right around the time the attachment started showing itself at my house, I think it was what, like 6 7 investigations in a row. This was even before Chris joined the team, or before I even started my team. The name Emma would come through. Now that's why I don't know where she came from, because there is a the cemetery I think it could have come from. When I got there on an investigation late at night, and they were on one side of the cemetery, and when I came in, I walked into the middle and I immediately went to the back. And I stood in front of this tombstone for about a 20 25 minutes, and it had E dot I can't remember the last name on it, but the E could stand for Emma.
Right,
I mean,
right.
I don't know.
So being that it kind of he Chris kind of thought that that was her following you down here. Any chance that she's
I
gonna come
don't
with you permanently?
I don't think it was following me down here, because that's the only time it ever came through. I just That's the one time I actually think it might have just been a coincidence.
Right,
Like,
right,
yeah, if she actually came down here with me, it would have been affecting me and my family.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just that that would have been crazy though if that was her that popped up in that
It
investigation.
it could have also just been energy, some kind of her energy carrying over, because Chris and I were together and we're the two that communicate the most to her.
Right.
So
So do you
it could have
find that
been.
if you could do you find that if you communicate with her or to her or at her that she becomes more active?
Yeah, That's why I try not to acknowledge her
Yeah.
and
Do
banish her to
you
the attic, attached to me. And it could also, the other third thing it could be is a poltergeist that I created in the self image of myself.
mm,
I was going through, it was around 2017, 2018. I was going through a rough patch. Broke up with a girl I was dating with. I lost my job all within like a month and a half of each other. So I kind of put myself in a bad rut. And it was also the same time that I came down here, went to Boone Plantation, came back, did this cemetery investigation and everything. So, like, all three of these are literally within the same time
right.
frame of each other. So it's hard to pinpoint it. Um, I touched a crib that was found when they were remodeling the slave cabins, and I lost 40 minutes of my time.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
There was your first mistake, touching the crib.
yeah,
Don't touch the
yeah,
crib.
that was, I don't know. I shouldn't have
Uh,
done that. But the self, the poltergeist could be a thing too, because none of my friends, like, it doesn't treat Chris the same it treats me. Like, it'll talk friendly to Chris,
Hmm.
but it torments me. Like, I get scratched, I'm constantly cold in that house versus down here where I have to have the house in the mid 60s or I'm sweating like crazy. Up in New
yeah.
York, uh, I have to have it mid 70s to high 70s or I'm shivering.
Oh wow. Huh. Wow. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just glad my house isn't haunted. I'll investigate them at other people's houses.
Well,
It's like
I had
it,
that thing happen, what, last week that I told you about, Erin, and that's never, I mean, I've always had dogs.
Yeah.
So, Craig, last week I was sitting on the couch watching TV with my daughter, and then the one dog was laying to the side of her, and all of a sudden he started looking up at the ceiling fan, which wasn't on, that's just the area he was looking at, and growling and barking. And he was just like staring adamantly at it and going, and he has never done that before. Like my daughter was like, "You can't go outside now. Like, don't leave me alone in here." Um, hasn't done
Has
anything
he?
since. Never did it before.
Yeah.
I've
Uh.
had Jalen's had some weird things happen in that house too. And if you go to our team YouTube page, Phantom Visions YouTube page, I only have like two EVPs uploaded on there, but one of them is you can clear as day hear it. It was 2 o'clock in the morning, and a buddy of mine was staying at my house for a little bit, and we're watching a movie, and he started smelling flowers. And when he mentioned that, Jalen kind of looked up and was like looking off to the side. Then he jumped down and started running around the house like crazy. And he never does that at 2 o'clock in the morning. So I looked at Dom and I was like, maybe we should start running a recorder. So I grab my recorder, start running it, and I'm marking in the recorder what Jalen is doing because he's zooming all over the house. And he jumps off the couch, and I'm like, the dog jumping off the couch. And when I say that, you can hear clear as day a female come back saying, the dog.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I wanted to get
See.
some equipment out when Milo was doing it, but my daughter wouldn't let me.
See. I had the weirdest thing happen. Recording or reviewing a video from one of our last investigations. Um. Back in November, and I had it up. I had it streaming from YouTube onto because we put all of our stuff on like what is it called, unclassified or un whatever on YouTube, where only we can see it,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how we do our reviewing, so that way everybody can pick
Mm.
some videos and review. um I had it up on my YouTube on my TV, and I was watching it, and I was maybe 10 minutes into this video, and Blanche does not watch TV. Like she will very rarely stare at the TV. And she got up on the bed, stared at the TV, and started growling. And
Yeah, I remember this.
that went on for like a good like 5 minutes. And like her hackles raised up and everything. And so I stopped it and I stopped it and gave her a few minutes and then I started it back up and I let it go to that time. She did it again. And
Wow.
I'm like, what am I not seeing in this video? Like there is clearly something there. So I don't
I want
know.
you
Let's
to send me
just
that clip.
see.
I want to put it on with my dogs and see if we get another reaction.
Yeah, I have to remember which one it was.
That's what what's his name? The famous inventor, Greg Chappell.
Oh yeah.
Need to get him to invent some kind of like goggles that allows us to see what dogs or kids can see.
Right? They make
That'd be
aura
cool.
goggles. Craig, thank you so much for being here.
It
Thank
was a
you, thank you.
pleasure. Thanks for having me.
We are glad that you are back in South Carolina.
I'm back and can't wait to see you guys again.
Yes,
Investigate.
on the third, we have the third, and we possibly have a good like all of our investigations are good, but we possibly have one location that we've been wanting to get into for a while. So
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
y'all
You
stay
messaged
tuned for
me.
that one. Um, we're actually going to meet tomorrow.
Yeah. I just
Um,
like being in there. Like even when I go to dinner, like I don't know. Like I feel at home in there. Like I just
yeah. I mean, I felt a lot of energy, but I didn't feel like I had to keep looking around my back.
the very first time that I ever set foot in there, it was like energy overload. Like I was actually
Yeah.
like um
Well, when we went the
explain it.
first time, when we went that one time, that was my first time being in there.
But I never felt like like now I think it like knows my energy or something. Like now when I go in there, it's a different feeling. Like it was only
Yeah.
that initial thing where I was super disoriented.
Yeah, it was so I'm excited about that. We got some good investigations coming up. Um we've got a lot of investigations in the pocket. We just got to get them on the calendar and I am here for it. Y'all listening, watching, however you're hearing this, check them out on Facebook at Phantom Visions Paranormal. Um, yeah, and you got anything else to add, Linnea?
Nope.
Well, let us know in the comments if y'all would live in a haunted house. If you do live in a haunted house,
Send us a listener
send
submission.
send us a listener submission because we want to do one of those again and we need your help. Um, Also, just a quick reminder that our merch store is up and running.
And it is
So,
awesome.
and it is awesome. We got hoodies, we got t shirts, we got mugs, koozies, you name it, we got it. And if you don't see it up there, our guy can make it because he is awesome.
Yeah, we should get some stickers. Stickers would be fun. Oh wait, we
We
gotta get
got,
our
we
shot
got,
glasses going too.
we got what?
Our shot glasses, remember?
Oh, yeah. We're gonna make some shot glasses so y'all can play as long as you're 21 or older.
What
Can
if?
play
Can you
if game and the what if game and the could you
can you
imagine,
imagine?
can you imagine? um,
Yeah,
so yeah, y'all check it out. It's we got the link on our Facebook as well as the link on our website. But yeah, we got some big things coming up. We're doing Relay for Life. I'm getting all my little plugs out right
oh
Yeah,
yeah.
now.
you can sponsor us on our Relay for Life page if you'd like to help support American Cancer Society.
And all money stays local to the Grand Strand, right?
Yep.
So all proceeds toward Relay for Life of the Grand Strand stays local to the Grand Strand. So if you guys would like to sponsor us, support um, the Relay for Life, our link is on our Facebook as well as our website. So y'all definitely check us out there. And there y'all have it. Haunted houses. Let us know. Would you live in one? Do you live in one? And until next time, y'all come back now. You hear?
Bye.
Bye.